Miss Burt, yeah, I remember when I first came to work at Legal Services in Oxford, and you were working there, and all the great people who worked there with us. And I just wondered, could you tell us a story or two about some of the great people or the things that happened while you were working at Legal Services? Something that stands out in your mind?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell us about some of the good things that happened. What was the work that you did? What kind of work did you do at Legal Services?
At Legal Service,
Yes, ma'am.
take care of some of the people that need to take care. Well, I have and get their address and name and everything.
And did you help them with their Social Security cases?
Huh?
Did you go with them to get Social Security benefits?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Lots and lots of lots of people were helped,
You're right.
right?
Yeah. So did.
One of the things, being her daughter, that one of
You're Miss
Effie, yes, I'm her daughter. And one of the cases that I remember, not that she came home so much to talk about them to us, but when we went out to the public, people would come up and hug her and say, "Oh, Miss Burt, thank you for helping me get my husband retirement
Right.
from the Army. And thank you for helping us get Social Security, and thank you." And they would try to give her some money, and she would say, no, Legal Service paid for me. And now if you want to donate that to your church for helping others. And one of the things that I thought was so great that happened with her being involved with the Legal Services is that there was a white couple who had a black young girl who worked for them at the age of 18 and until she was 65. During those terms, she's raised the grandchildren, the great-great-grandchildren, and the great-great-grandchildren. And when she retired and was sick, there was no Social Security that anyone had ever paid in to her. And now she was too old to work. So my mother went to the family, which was the grandchildren, and say, "She's taking care of you, your mother, now I need you to put money in her Social Security." And they immediately put money into her Social Security. And and she was able to buy a trailer house to live in. And that's one of the things that I just know that happened. For me, being a daughter of her, she kept right on out of Legal Services into the school system, where she was there for me. I remember I couldn't wear an afro wig or afro, and she bought me a long blonde wig and said, "You're gonna wear this every day until they allow you to wear afro." And so they allowed it. He says, "If you just take off that blonde wig, you can wear afros." So not only was she involved in the community, but she was also involved in our lives for justice in the school system.
And I remember that your father, Mr. Burt, was very active in Legal Services too, because he was on the local advisory committee. Is that right?
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
And he helped people in the community know about our services and help them stand up for themselves and come and ask for legal help. Am I correct?
Correct.
Do either one of y'all remember any stories about Mr. Burt and his involvement?
I remember that. Well, do you remember anything what Daddy used to do with the Legal Service, Mom?
Who?
Daddy. What did Daddy used to do with the Legal Service? Do you remember?
Yeah,
What?
I do. Remember.
Well, I can tell you something that he did. My niece got pregnant in high school, and they were going to kick her out. And my dad said, "No, you won't." And he went to the school and said, "She is not going to get kicked out of school." So that's one thing that I remember
He was
him
an
doing.
advocate.
And again, for me, I was the baddest kid in the family. Yes, I was, but she taught me justice, and that I deserved it. And so every day, not every day, but maybe once a week, I would get kicked out of school for standing up for what was right, what they preached all the time, justice. And my daddy would take me back to school the next day, and he would say, you know, she can't learn anything at home. You can put it in the corner, or you can put her, but she needs to be in school because we're gonna have to be out of school next week. The Abenaki said it said it's gonna rain, and we're gonna need to get the cotton up, and we're gonna need to do this. But so right now, she needs to be in school. So and so there he was for me again, and for others, standing up, and the people in the community that he helped. When my father passed, I can't tell
Where
you.
would that come from?
It's just, you can leave it here.
Huh?
You just leave it right here. It's gonna sit
Okay.
here. I can't tell you how many people came and gave us money that my daddy had lent to them. We had no knowledge of it. And he just helped so many people. Even with our vegetables, he would come uptown and people like, Mr. Burt, I don't have any. He would give them stuff, and I'm like, I had to go down there and get that stuff. And but it only taught me to be the person that I am today, from the way that they were for me.
Are you aware of any special difficulties that your mother experienced as an early advocate? I know that might have been before you were aware. Any particular problems you had trying to help people to get their Social Security?
Yeah.
Do you remember any?
Huh?
Do you remember any problems that you had
As a legal
helping-
worker?
when you worked with the legal services?
Yeah.
Do you remember any problems that you had
Yeah.
trying to help others?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember?
Yeah. I
What?
remember. Huh?
What?
Help them. Help the people that needed help.
Yeah, you did do that.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Effie, do you,
Huh?
either one of Miss Annie Lee or Miss Effie, do you, could you tell us what in terms of Lafayette County with this area, Oxford, what, if it hadn't been for legal services, could you
Yeah.
finish that sentence? Could you say what difference legal services has made in this area?
Legal services.
That, what do you think legal services, what's the important things that it's done for this area of this state, for Oxford and Taylor, and
Mm-hmm.
are things better now than they were?
Huh?
I said, did it make the things better to have legal services there to help the people?
Yeah.
I feel that the time that I was there, I moved away after high school. But I do know that I saw a lot of people who had family members that had lost their father in the Army, and mom was able to help them to get widows veteran pay. She was able, I remember one of Mr. Toes who was going blind, and he had dental problems, and she said there's something wrong, and the doctors had really dismissed him here and said you're just getting old and you're going blind, and my mom said no, something is wrong. She took him to Memphis to the veteran hospital. They did have to extract his teeth, and his eyesight came back. And they were just the people. The phone would ring all the time, and like, can I need to speak to Miss Annie, or I need to speak, and mom would take the calls.
So the clients would call her at home?
They would call her at home. When she retired, they would still call her, and she would say, look, okay, get your papers together, get your social security numbers, get all the information and take it to legal service because I don't work there anymore, but they can help you. So she constantly referred people there from the community to legal services. And besides being a great paralegal, she is the greatest mother you ever could have, my mom and dad. She agrees.
Is there anything else?
Mom, do you remember anything else about legal services?
That you want to say?
You want to say anything that you want to say about legal services?
I hope a lot of people get their social security,
Yes,
whatever.
yes, ma'am.
A lot of people that I have hope get their social security, they go and tell somebody else, and then they come up there and say, well, so-and-so told me about you.
Yes, ma'am.
And they say, she will help you. I said, sure will.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we sure appreciate you coming out today to see us.
She'll be 97 on June 9th.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, thank you for having us.
All right.
Thank you very much.